Hello, 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 and welcome to FC Cincinnati and CST's Watchalong for FC Cincinnati versus Columbus Crew. This is the other Weigel, Brad Weigel, stepping into the hosting chair. Almost the revolving door. We've had Clay, Brian, Subes, and now it's my turn popping in this Sunday night of Labor Day weekend to welcome you all to our watch along on all of our different platforms. FC Cincinnati faces a tough test tonight, the Columbus Crew. But before we preview the show here, I'm going to welcome in my co-host, Coach. How's it going, man?
I am so happy to be here. CST rolling out the A team with us, unlike Columbus, who looks like they're fielding maybe an A-, B+ team.
Yeah. So tell me what's going on this Labor Day weekend?
A whole lot of social distancing. I got to be part of a couple baptisms today, which was cool, but not like a normal church baptism. We went to people's backyards, baptized a few kids, and then from there on, it's just a bunch of relaxation. What about you?
It was Derby weekend for me, man. I'm a big horse racing guy. Yesterday was a beautiful day. It's probably the best Derby day weather-wise, and forever. Being pushed back to September, but it was a good time. Unfortunately, I didn't do so well in the betting side of things. I want to say I really only bet like the last 4 races, and legit, each horse that I picked came in second and got nipped at the wire. So
I wouldn't know how to bet on
awesome.
horses if you tried to help me in all reality, but I know a lot of people who do it. It's like one of those years where typically I watch the Derby, but I don't pay a whole lot of close attention. So because of that, with it all being weird, I just didn't even realize it.
Yeah. Well, listeners, make sure you get on our comment section of each one of the streams. They will be funneled to Brad and I here, and we'll be able to answer your questions. So make sure you go down into the chat, and we will be sure to get your question on the show. Now let's get into some of the match notes here. FC Cincinnati's roster remains mostly unchanged. Your only change in the 11 from midweek versus the Fire was that Yuya Kubo slots in for Harris Maduyan. And so how do you think that impacts the game for Cincinnati, Coach?
I think we're going to see Siem de Jong drop deeper and look to dictate play from a position that we would typically see Harris. I think that the graphics are showing him kind of functioning as a left outside mid. I don't think he'll spend a lot of time out there. I think he'll kind of drop a little bit deeper and look to spray passes, hopefully hit a lot of long diagonals over to Joseph Zhao.
Yeah, Larry Wickel jumping on board says, let's go out and get that point. Onward to 3 points for Cincinnati, as I like to say, from our March to Match Day show. Yeah. Now let's talk about the Crew. They're going to present an interesting test. Unlike FC Cincinnati, who's in their 5th match in 16 games have rolled out mostly the same starting 11. Columbus is going to rotate a bit, especially in their 2 main attacking positions. Lucas Celerion, their attacking number 10, not even on the game day roster today. He is out, and Jazzy Zard has taken a seat for former FC Cincinnati striker Fernando Adi. So you're going to see Fernando Adi and actually, believe it or not, Fatai Alashe up top for the Crew. So what were your first thoughts when you saw their lineup roll out?
My initial thought was that, like I said, off the top, it looked like Columbus was showing a bit of disrespect rolling out a B squad. But as I kind of think about it more, and especially how the last match went and how fired up Caleb Porter was, it makes me wonder if Porter is expecting FCC on the road to come and sit back. And maybe Porter is planning on just kind of whipping in a bunch of crosses to Adi, and if something happens, fine. But then putting his A team back on the field, the last 20, 30 minutes of the match, and then really opening things up from there when perhaps the FCC center backs are a little bit tired.
Yeah, so if you want to take a look right now at the standings in the Eastern Conference, the top 10 teams are going to make it into the playoffs. Right now, FC Cincinnati sits in 11th at 9 points. Honestly, it's just because DC, I believe, holds a two goal advantage on the goal differential. So FC Cincinnati's right in there. And, win tonight could see them jump as high as probably 6th or 7th place. So especially with a match coming up against New York City FC next weekend, you could see FC Cincinnati, kind of, I would say maybe a little bit ahead of where I thought they would be, 6 matches after another layoff after that MLS's back tournament.
Yeah, and it's an important match, not only because the Hell is Real Derby and all of that, but the team having been so long without a goal and rolling into New York City next match, which is going to be really tough, not only with the travel, but also a very good team. It's important that the team has a bit of success today and feels good coming out of this match. So maybe that's with only a point. Getting a point on the road at Columbus is not a bad showing, but the team definitely needs to take some positivity out of this match.
All right. So so you said, point that would be successful to me. If you were going to define success, that would be an amazing pickup on the road. But how do you see FC Cincinnati getting this match done? Are we going to see a team that you are likely to sit back again with probably five defenders plus 3 midfielders behind the ball, or do you maybe see a step forward in progression again with FC Cincinnati?
I think that it's going to be interesting because we've seen the team slowly open up a bit more each match, it seems to me. So I think it'll be kind of a hybrid. I think they'll sit in at times when Columbus is dominating possession, but I think they'll really try to get out and get that ball on the right side to Zhao and see if Regatin can maybe come near Zhao and combine, and then look and see if they can find Locadia across in the box. I think we're going to see Kubo get forward a lot. Like I said, I think De Jong will kind of hold back more as like a number 8, and Kubo will shift into like a number 10 role.
All right. Looks like the FC Cincinnati broadcast is just getting started up here, so we're probably only about 5 or 10 minutes away from kickoff here. So if you have any questions, make sure you, like I said, you get them into the comment box. We got one right here. Hotspur FCC B7. Where is Cruz? Knee keeping him off the bench. Yeah, that was kind of a surprising one for me to not see Alan Cruz, at least on the game day roster. But I did see an update to the lineup notes, and they don't elaborate on what it is. But they're saying that Said Abdul Salam, Alan Cruz, Nick Hagelin, and Jimmy McLaughlin will all miss the match due to injuries. And Kamahela Makocho, he still is overseas. And I think him, along with Barry Allen, are still waiting their transfer certificates and visa paperwork before they get over here. But yes, it does look like it's that same injury that has been plaguing him. So what does a loss of Alan Cruz do to this team?
I think he's been such an important part of the team, even coming off the bench. A lot of us have been surprised when he hasn't started, but he's shown such energy and ability to really make some decisive passing coming off the bench. So I think it is important, but definitely no more important than Columbus losing Zeller-Ion for the match. Yep. So I would take that trade any day. If you offered me before I saw the lineup notes, hey, we'll leave Zeller-Ion at home if you leave Cruz, it's like, sold, bite your hand off for that deal.
Yep. Anytime you lose one of their highest paid, if not their highest paid player, that has to make you feel a little bit better in the opposing locker room. To me, I think it's going to come down to this guy. I'll move my mic here.
Yes.
I made a little purchase midweek. Wife was pretty jealous. I got this one in the Kubo shirt from the guys over at Knifey Lion Radio. And I think it's going to come down to what Locadia can do. I think that he's going to have some chances, especially without Zeller-Ion. So we'll see how much Columbus can pick the ball up and go forward with it possessionally. But I think it's going to be his time to take his chances. He's going to be back on a familiar, grass surface. Because make no mistake, it's tough to play on turf, especially when you're not used to it that often. So I think it's going to depend on how well he takes his chances and how well guys like De Jong and Kubo and Regatin can create for him.
Yeah, listen, Jurgen Locadia has gotten in a lot of great positions, which is hard for us as fans because we see him missing these chances and we want to throw our hands up and say, what is going on? But think about all the dangerous positions our former strikers got in, and you're going to be thinking for a long time, right? So hopefully, like you said, today's the day for Locadia to finish one of those chances. But I have pretty much zero doubts that he'll have at least one big chance this match.
Yeah, and you mentioned that former high-paid striker, Fernando Adi, getting the start for Columbus. What do you think about this one? Because we've seen he doesn't create much, and Columbus is without their main creator.
And also, he doesn't press. I think that's going to be a case where FC Cincinnati is going to have a little bit more of the ball around the back. We've seen a lot of teams try to press FCC early because the center backs often cough that ball up, and Teton's not a particularly good distributor. Well, nobody's pressing with Fernando Adi on the field. Now, will we see Nagbe get up into the press or something instead? Maybe that's why Alashe is out there. Maybe they just want to run him to death for 45 and then sub him out. But it is going to be interesting.
Yeah, I'm just so excuse me. I'm trying to start or use my DVR here, and it looks like looks like Zella Ryan might be out. From what I'm seeing, his wife might have given birth midweek. So
I do believe that's what I heard them say.
Yeah, maybe a break for FC Cincinnati here. So we'll see. TT's in goal. Hopefully he'll have another big night. He's had a tremendous run outside of the Fire match. He's had several clean sheets. What have you seen from him that has been key to FC Cincinnati on this this I would say nice run, but it's really a run of draws. But yeah, it's improvement.
Yeah, I think we've seen a guy who's willing to come out of the box when needed, which has been really nice. Come off his line. We saw in the Columbus match him come way out. I believe that was the Columbus match. Maybe not. Anyways, the one thing I worry about Teton, and something the center backs are going to have to be really aware of, is he does not catch the ball clean an awful lot. So we got to look for those rebounds. FC Cincinnati, I used to tell my teams, I called it touch the post. Basically, defenders, as that ball goes into your goalkeeper, you're going in with it. And I say touch the post because that's how we practiced it. After every shot, I made defenders run and touch the goalpost. That's how you practice following the ball in. So they need to be touching those posts, man. Track that ball in case that ball comes back off the keeper and they're able to clear it out.
All right, we're at 7:35 right here, so I would assume we're probably about 3 or 4 minutes away from kickoff. So let's get into our predictions. Make sure listeners put your predictions in the comment section, and we'll get coach's thoughts here on the match.
So listen, in the Growler Cup, I picked a 0-0 draw because how could you go wrong with a 0-0 draw with FC Cincinnati? After seeing the lineup, I can't help but having a little hope. And also, I saw Kenny Walker today in the parking lot of a Curito that I was eating at. And I didn't believe it was him, but I checked his Instagram story and I do think it was him. So I think that that's a sign of things to come. I think Kenny Walker is in the Queen City, the good luck charm. And I'm going to go out on a limb. And I think Cincinnati's going to pip the Columbus Crew and come out of here with a win tonight.
Boy, that would be a tremendous result. I'm going to have to stick to what happened in what I picked in the Growler Cup. And that, like I said, I didn't see the Zardes and the Zala Ryan moves coming. But I'm going to stick Michael Walker. I want to say the first or second year of CST just ran away with the Growler Cup. And legit, all he did was pick 2-1 either way. And I think, unfortunately, it's away. Even though it's just a 2-hour bus drive north, we're seeing a lot of teams having trouble on the road. Getting acclimated. All the teams are having to go up and back. I think they probably would have anyways for a match like this, possibly. But, you're not going up to a hotel, staying the night, getting settled, going out for a walk, having the meals, whatnot. And maybe, that's something we can talk to Gerard Nijkamp tomorrow night because he'll be a guest on the main show.
Super exciting.
To get his thoughts on how teams are adjusting to that. So I'm going to go with a 2-1 FC Cincinnati loss. But like you said, I am definitely a lot more hopeful.
So Bradley, let me ask you this. The team loses 2-1, but they break that scoring drought. Is that a success in your mind, losing only by 1 on the road to the best team in the East?
I don't always take... a little bit, but I don't always take a ton of stock in just the end score result after a match. Because, you could be just getting obliterated for, 90 minutes and, the 90th minute you have a trash goal and it's 2-1 and you feel a little bit better about yourself. I still want to see how the team plays. And even though they've had a lot of these draws, and even the Chicago match where they lost 3-0, there were still positive points to take away. So I'm interested to see how Garza does up the left side. Versus Gutman. We didn't go into that. Gutman, that he's sitting for 2 matches in a row. I don't know if that's a little bit of a knock. I don't know if that's the Stom opting for Garza, which I think Ken Hecker is going to talk about maybe later this week about how you're starting to see Garza's passing stats and how they compare favorably versus Andrew Gutman. So right now I'm seeing Guido Gonzalez Jr. on the screen. We all have positive moments, but maybe Coach, you can let me know where you are on your screen, and I can pause my TV to time adequately with you. And maybe some of our listeners might be a little bit behind, but I think we'll get it there. I'm seeing Eli Room jumping up and down on the goal.
I believe I'm about 15 seconds behind you, judging by what you're saying and what I'm seeing. So I will give you a holler when they take the knee and then when they kick off.
Sounds good, man. Yeah. So, all right, listeners, if you want to get your last predictions, get them in now. Post them in the chat, and we'll see. Jer Sharan wants to know, Coach, what are you drinking?
I am drinking a Listermann's Fest beer. So it's going to be, they call it a German style party lager, but it's basically it's an Oktoberfest. So that's what I'm starting out with tonight.
Nice. I'm a once it hits September 1st, I'm a bourbon guy, so I picked up a little Wellers this week. Soccer Mom PW. Anyone know how to get the match out of state? I believe you can just go to Cincinnati or fccincinnati.com. It should be there. If you've got an ESPN subscription, you let me know. Looks like they just kicked off on my screen, so you let me know when they kick off on yours.
Will do.
But all right, Pietro, 1-0. Cincinnati. Lacadia scores. Truth or dare? Does Coach or does Loca?
Right. I just kicked off.
All right. Hope so, Matt.
I'm at 5 seconds.
All right. I'm at 8. So I think we're right there.
Close enough. Yeah.
Right there. Yep. Patty, I think it's just go ahead on over to. Oh, she's saying nope. What state are you in, Patty? But yeah, if you can, ESPN Plus, I think it might be on there too. But if it's not, Tennessee. Well, hopefully you're at a nice lake or something, enjoying the beautiful Labor Day weekend weather. 2-1 nothing win. Oh, she's driving. That'll be ooh. Southern Dayton blacked out of all streams again. Looks like there might be some streaming issues. We'll see. The having the game in Columbus's market means that all of Ohio is in some sort of market, so I wonder how that affects the stream. But could be a different one. We got one. Yap needs to let Frankie Amaya be more aggressive offensively.
It depends on his role. When he's playing this deep lying playmaker role where he sits back in the middle, his role, I said playmaking, it's really more of a connector. His job is to receive the ball and give it up in simple passes, just facilitate the ball's movement back and forth. And he can't really afford to get aggressive from there because he needs to sit back in the middle of that defense and right in front of the back four and look to break up play on any turnovers.
It looks like right now he's sitting in the middle of the midfield three with De Jong out on the left and Kubo out on the right. Looks like De Jong is kind of behind Regaton. I will see, Patty, if I can post a link that FC Cincinnati sent out. Here.
I was looking on ESPN Plus earlier, and it did not appear that ESPN Plus had the game, so I thought that was interesting.
I'm going to see if I can throw this link here into... See if that works for you. I'm not sure.
Uh-oh. All right. Looks like I'm doing this by myself for a little bit. So it's interesting to see, Columbus having a lot of the ball early. And FC Cincinnati, as we've seen in the past, is content to kind of sit back, let Columbus have the ball. They're not really pressing a lot, just kind of keeping their lines compact, trying to get out and move up the field when they can. But also, I think that they need to make sure they get good pressure in the midfield. We saw in that Chicago match when FC Cincinnati lost 3-0 that was due in large part to a lack of pressure in the midfield. So it's all well and good to sit back and let the opponent have the ball, but you need to put pressure in those key areas once they're within range to drop that ball over top of the back line with a long pass. Definitely appears to me that Nagby is playing in a more number 10 role, and he's going to look to continue to get on the ball, I'm sure, and he is so good in tight spaces. I think he'll probably look to not really dictate play like a traditional number 10, but kind of serve as that link up that I was talking about with Frankie Amaya there, but more on the offensive side of the ball.
So we're in the I'm at the 3:30 mark, and looks like Kuba just had a great opportunity off the right side there. Jiao went sliding in. Oh, it looked like it. I think it was Jiao. Might have been.
It was Locadia. It's a really great little combination play to free Kubo up.
It's even though it missed. That was it's a tough play for Locadia sliding in there. But it was good to see finally Kubo running at goal.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that that's key, right? If you can get him running at the back line, that's his biggest strength by far. I said it when I released the scouting report before we ever saw him in orange and blue. Getting him running at the defense, he has really good balance. So having him trying to get through the defense is where he really excels. I would have liked to see Locadia work a little bit harder to get on the end of that. I felt like he hesitated a little bit, maybe expecting a pullback, and might have had a chance to get there had he gone full out.
It looks like, I'm sorry, Larry, we are a little bit behind here. Just trying to make sure we're all on the same, at least on the stream side of things, the same pace. I'm at the 440 mark for those of you who are watching. Looks like FC Cincinnati's doing a nice job, and the crew are they're having issues getting some meaningful possession going forward. But you've seen FC Cincinnati with a couple chances so far.
Yeah, I agree with Matt there saying Regaton had a bad first touch. Greg Garza was wide open on the left flank. I would have liked to see Regaton be able to turn and play him instead. They kept possession, though. We've seen those bad touches lead to turnovers in the past. So, I'm grateful for that. See if anything can happen on this corner kick here.
Mm-hmm.
So Larry et al., make sure you guys don't spoil this for us if you're a minute ahead, right?
Only if it's a good spoil. That's okay. Only good spoils.
If you really want to show your dedication to Cincinnati Soccer Talk, you could pause your DVR for a minute and watch along with us. I'm kidding. I wouldn't do that. I'm grateful that Brad did it. It's tough to watch these matches together on a live broadcast.
Oh, that's two good chances by FC Cincinnati. We just missed. Looks like Van der Werf whiffed. Got to take these early. FC Cincinnati, they've had chances. They've just haven't been able to put away. And those are two, honestly, that, against the Fire didn't have a ton of chances, but they made their chances count, a week and a half ago. FC Cincinnati's had a couple good looks, and they haven't connected on those two. So
I would consider those. Yeah, I would consider those both to be more like half chances. Right. Neither of them were really good. The first one could have been, but like I said, I think Locadia kind of held his run up a tiny bit. Mm-hmm. And then that second one there, that ball off the head of Waston was behind Van der Werf. Right. A center back trying to flick the ball with his heel. I mean, we're lucky he didn't fall over.
Yeah. Well, it looks like we see a little foul on Kendall Waston fouled Darlington Nagby there. So it looks like Crew are going to have a dangerous chance outside the box here.
Luckily, it's deep enough to where it would appear that the option to shoot would not be extremely likely. So the team can kind of line up and look to defend this ball coming in the air.
Larry Wickel says, Van der Werf seems to find himself in a position to score very frequently, it never seems to be able to come through in the clutch.
I wonder what his goal scoring stats are. It doesn't seem to me, because you're right, he seems to get a lot of chances, but I don't remember him particularly being a goal threat like we've thought of, like Forrest Lasso when he came to FCC. Everybody knew coming in he was a set piece threat. Kendall Waston, these are guys who have a track record of scoring off of set pieces.
Like I said, if you do have a spoiler, guys, make sure it's a good one. Brian always gets mad at me when I'm watching and he's streaming and I text him and he gets all mad. Then I just say, pay for cable, man. It's okay. All right. So 8 minutes in.
So far, I like what I've seen. When FCC has sat back, they've kept their lines compact, not giving Columbus any joy in the center of the park. And when they have the ball, they've been able to transition through the thirds and get forward. So that's all good so far. That's the danger. You can't let Nagby get the ball, roll you, and be dribbling towards goal. That was far too easy.
See if I can get some of these stats here for you, Coach. We are 9 minutes in. And the Crew, geez Louise, this is the Crew's holding possession 70-30, but I don't know if it seems like that too much.
I believe it. I think FC Cincinnati's only had that one good or two good forays forward. Both of them ended with chances on goal, one off the corner.
Yeah, and was it Michael Lahoud always says MLS is a transition league, and you've seen both FCC's chances. One came exactly through transition. The other one came, off of a set piece. So we'll see how they do here. I'm seeing a setup of a corner kick, or not a free kick. It goes out of bounds. It's kind of weird to see Mafre Stadium with fans, because most of you guys know 1,500 people are allowed in the stands, and I'd love to hear if they're piping in music or if you can actually hear the fans going. But it's just weird to see fans in the stands. It's different than what we've seen the last 5 or so months.
Looks to me like Van der Werf has an XG on the season of around 0.06. So I'm not sure that according to XG, any of his chances have been considered, no-brainer, should have scored from there.
Where do you get that stat from, Coach?
I'm on Y-Scout for that.
Y-Scout.
And it won't show us this match.
Ooh. It won't show us this match till we're done?
Correct.
Yeah.
And Nagby is finding a lot of space.
Fernando Adi out wide. You think Kendall Wasson and Fernando Adi went at each other a couple times last year in practice?
Yeah, I wonder what the relationship is like there. I wonder if there's any bad blood between Adi, and I'm sure there's some bad blood between Adi and the organization. I wonder how they are. I don't think we really had much of an indication of what kind of guy he was in the locker room and whether people liked him or didn't, or they were indifferent. Maybe we need to ask Mike about that.
I'm not sure if he's far enough removed from that locker room yet to give us the full side of the story. We'll see.
Right.
Looks like the Crew are going to get a chance here from the corner. Fatai Alashe had the ball kind of at the top of the box. Van der Werf gets in the way and deflects it for a corner. So we'll see what the Crew do here.
They've already had more touches in Zone 24 than they did all of last match. So,
FC Cincinnati or the Crew?
Zone 14, I mean, FC Cincinnati.
And for our listeners who don't know what Zone 14 that is,
basically the 6-yard box. If you took it out and put it on top of the 18-yard box, basically that. It's the area on the field where, when they've done, over the course of the history of soccer, where the vast majority of goals come from either directly from there or a pass from there leading directly to a goal.
All right, look, Joe Giles just going nuts, and I'm seeing our comments not being too happy. Oh, it was a good pass. It looked like it was a decent pass. Is that Seam to Young? Yeah, that's Seam to Young, and kind of pass was between Seam and Adi, Lacadia, and nobody takes it, and it just.
I'm with Matt Emholt there. I would have loved to see Zhao go right at goal and force the keeper to make a save, or some Columbus defender to try to make a tackle in the box.
So why? So what do you think this all comes down to? Is it Lacadia's not selfish enough to take that chance? Is it indecision? Is it chemistry? What's the deal? Because I think I have my thoughts, but I'd love to get your thoughts as a former coach.
I think it comes down to confidence for me, and a bit of selfishness too. I think Zhao has to have the confidence to think that he is the best guy to score that goal, and then the selfishness to do it. You want your goal scorers to be a bit selfish. You want your goal scorers to feel like they have a better chance to score than someone else. Mm-hmm. You and I are both Spurs fans. How often does Harry Kane pass up a pass? Because if there's somebody that has a slightly better chance to score than him, he's still going to favor himself. And that's what you want from your goal scorers.
We had a little tumble in the box. Looks like Deplan's down a little bit, and looks like it should be going for a goal kick, but some of the Crew players are screaming for a potential handball in the box.
It was.
It looks like it was in the chest.
was too easy there from Mokhtar, I believe, to come in, and that Deplan had him lined up. He just didn't get close enough to him. Once you're inside the box, you need to be touch tight to your mark there, which basically means close enough to touch him.
Deplan's got to watch his hand there. That was a little too close. A little too close.
Graydon asks a good question. He asks, Zhao hasn't had a bad game. Is his speed and playmaking just something hard to see in practice? My only thought is, even in games last year, Zhao did not get a lot of time when he was running with the ball. And I'm thinking that he was a little bit rusty last season. He had not played a lot of football. He'd been hurt a lot. So my guess is he's improving as he kind of gets back into the rhythm of things.
Yeah, great. And just to give you a little bit of a background, because Zhao was so highly thought of at Dortmund, he kept getting hurt. He basically didn't play much first team football for, I want to say it was like 4.5 years. So what you're seeing now, honestly, is probably his longest consecutive play in 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, and anytime a soccer player gets to get in a rhythm and playing, and then it doesn't hurt that he's had some success, right? But I agree. I think you're starting to see all his promise and what he always could have been now that he's healthy.
Yep. It's in. I was saying on a March to Match Day, you haven't seen FC Cincinnati have a ton of possession in the final third. So this is all still new to him. So like when you saw that misplay, off Zhao's pass between Locadia and De Jong, I think chemistry still plays a big part of it. They're unsure who's going to be where and when.
Absolutely. I think some of that on that Zhao run, I think that's what it was. I think he probably thought De Jong was going to make a cut inside of that defender. And that's where, you put the ball where the runner is going, not where he is. If you put it where he is, he's not there anymore by the time the ball gets there. So you have to have that chemistry to be able to play that. And I guess he assumed that De Jong was going to make a cut inside that defender, and De Jong never did.
Mm-hmm. For our listeners out there, again, make sure that you get on to our comment section of either our Periscope, our Facebook, or our YouTube streams here, and we'll get your questions. We'd love to answer your questions. See how things are going. Coach is here, ready and willing to answer.
Yeah, I'm hopeful that FC Cincinnati still grows into this game a bit more. I'm glad, through 16 minutes, Columbus hasn't had a shot on goal, but they've had a few that could have been, other than the fact that they were blocked heroically. So FC Cincinnati still needs to settle things in, get a bit more of possession, and start to limit those chances more, make it more difficult for Columbus to play the ball into the box.
So I'm at 1650 right now.
And Columbus pulled an FC Cincinnati there, turning the ball over in transition just by playing a sloppy pass.
One thing I'm surprised that I haven't seen much from, or at least maybe I just haven't noticed it, but Harrison Offal getting into the match up the right wing for Columbus. I thought that guy used to be just a stud, and just haven't seen it. Or is he on the?
He still is. He's still a stud getting up and down the right flank. I think playing against a 4-3-3, the player who marks you in that system, or 4-2-3-1, which is the most common system in the MLS, is the winger, or that outside wide attacking player. So Harrison Offal gets to get up the field a lot without that winger tracking him and finds a lot of space. Playing against FCC, sitting back in a 5-back, that wing back has responsibility for you as an outside back. So technically the wing back's already back there, which makes it a lot tougher for you to get forward.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of crazy to think too that this might be the last game FC Cincinnati ever plays in Mapfre Stadium.
Yeah, I'm sure they're so sad about that. I will not be sad that I won't be going back to watch another match there. I've had some good times watching matches there, be it Crew or more likely U.S. men's national team, but windy days, man, just that nothing around there. That wind just cuts through you in that stadium. Nowhere to hide.
I just remember going there and, all the suites, like they don't even have bathrooms. when they designed it, they just tried to do it as cheap as possible. And I get it. Back in the time, you didn't know what deal MLS was. And so I just remember going and watching matches there. And it's just the funny stuff. Just different age. What this was built for $30 million, and now you got a $300 or $400 million stadium 6 to 8 months away. So
exactly.
It's great to see how much this has progressed in this country.
Yeah, it's cool. It's a source of pride, I think, for Ohio that the first soccer-specific stadium was built in Ohio. I think that's pretty cool. But that was back in the glory days of the Columbus Crew before they moved to Austin. So
that's dirty. I like it. Coach can throw shade with the best of them. So, did you have a little guest in your studio there about right around kickoff?
I did. My daughter Everly scratched her back on the swing set on the tree house that I built and came to tell me about it.
Gotta sand that thing down, Dad. You gotta sand the thing down, Dad.
I built it so it wouldn't fall down. My work here is done. Splinters and all, they can deal with that.
Oh, geez. That's funny. And I always love when Lily just barges right into Brian's studio when they're live, and she's so sweet. You can't be mad at her. All right.
You can't be mad at her because she's so sweet. I'm sure Brian can.
Brian can be mad at anybody, man.
That's true.
He's angry. He's angry.
Yes, I've heard.
Fiery. Sometimes his attitude is despicable, but you never know.
Yeah. Siem de Jong, Tom Beversdorf was asking if he's out there. I think it's tongue in cheek. Of course he's out there, but we haven't seen him get on the ball a lot, right? I was expecting him to drop into a place, and get on the ball out sort of on the left flank, but in a deeper role and kind of dictate play with his passing. I don't know. I'll have to watch a little closer if Harrison Offal is pressing up to deny him that, or if he just isn't moving enough.
Really interested to see why the Crew didn't start Jazzy here tonight. I mean,
you could believe, yeah, and you could believe that it's just rotation, right? I mean, with all these games, you see a guy like Nick Hagland is out injured, hasn't played a match, but he's still training, and all the training and all the travel and all the matches just take a toll.
Good play, Amaya. I'm at the 21:36 mark, and able to pick that ball off an Agby.
Yeah, I like that.
I'm really interested to see what he's going to do when Makocho comes, because I think you've got to keep Amaya on the field.
Yeah, I really think so too. It's going to be an interesting dynamic, and that's a lot of us have been speculating. Ken Hector speculating, like, what is Cruz going to do? Because how do you fit Cruz and Amaya and Makocho and Siem de Jong and Harris Medunjanin all into a midfield? Obviously, even with rotation, you can't keep all those guys in there and happy.
Yep, there's only so many spots on the field and on the roster. We'll see how it all shakes up the rest of this year and into next. Interesting days ahead, but it's nice to see what FC Cincinnati. I really do feel that they finally have multiple building blocks going forward. Locadia, Jao, Amaya, Makocho. I mean, we're really starting to see how this team's going to look for the next at least 2 to 3 seasons. I think it's a little bit harder to go out further than that in Major League Soccer, but it's good to see that now they're bringing in real pieces instead of just, for a better term, Band-Aids.
Yeah, I 100% agree. And even with all the bodies in the midfield, competition is a good thing. And Amaya is going to have to get better. Last year, he might have felt pretty confident in the starting lineup by the end of the season. But with Makoto around, Amaya is going to have to continue to push and get better. Not that I doubt he would anyway. But same with everyone out on the field. Nobody's going to be just written in pen in that lineup in that midfield, and that's only good.
Yeah, I think it's Jeremy Strand here says that does Cruz have value to be traded? And while I like to think that some of my roster rules knowledge compares to Ken Hector's, inevitably it just doesn't. But if he would get traded, I think it would be more of like a sale, like you would see out of the league rather than an league trade. I think you'd probably see him head out into maybe Europe or something, transfer via that way. And then if that's the case, FC Cincinnati would land allocation money for, I believe, a portion of the transfer fee, whatever was a surplus. Because unlike MLS's rules are always, it's so tough, but they don't necessarily realize all that money as far as a use for like the roster.
Right, but just from just a player standpoint, I think Cruz might have the most value on the entire team in a trade because he's still young. He can play almost anywhere, and he has international experience.
Mm-hmm.
He can play in big matches. He can score goals. He does a little bit of everything. So I honestly cannot think of a player with more value than Alan Cruz on this squad.
Mm-hmm. And I think in a year like this year, more teams would be open and willing to give a player a pass, especially with injuries and all that. So we'll see. We're 25 minutes here, 25 minutes in on the CST watch along right now. It remains scoreless. Columbus 0, FC Cincinnati 0. Right now, let me pull up the stats page. I believe both teams are tied on shots 3-3. Passing percentages are very similar. Crew are having a little bit more in the attacking half, but I would venture to say that both teams have had about the same level of dangerous passes. What are you seeing here so far, Coach?
The thing that I'm really keying in on that I've really liked so far is Crew is really focused on the right side of the pitch. I don't know if they think there's a weakness there with De Jong and Garza, or if that just happens to be the side that they've been on more. But I think De Jong and Garza have really been working well together. Keep an eye on those guys. You'll see Garza pull out wide to mark Offal, and you'll see De Jong sit back in and mark that space in behind Garza, which we haven't seen in the past, which is why if Garza were to get beat, there's typically nobody else there. So I think that's been really good. I'm not sure if Kubo's been doing the same thing on the left side of the pitch, on the Crew left. Mm-hmm. So just overall, my overall impressions is, like I said, I'm happy. Crew hasn't created too much. FC Cincinnati has created more than nothing. And my favorite part about it is I've not seen a single just terrible turnover in transition. Sure, there's been a lot of passes. Well, there you go.
Yeah. I was going to say, damn it.
Those are the ones that kill you because it only takes one.
Good play there by Garza. Oh, geez, Louise. You're going to get that foul every day with Guido reffing too. So, T. Arnold, I pulled your question up. With so much value, why can't he get more playing time? And honestly, I think right now with Cruz, it's more of an injury thing than anything. I think we saw him go down early in the MLS's back tournament, kind of re-injured himself a couple weeks ago when he finally did get a start. So I would say it's more that injury, but I'm also not there to practice every day, so I couldn't tell if it's something else.
And I don't know who we heard it from, but we heard that perhaps he didn't come into the team in the best fitness, let's say. So if that's the case, then he picks up an early injury. He sort of might have been a little bit on behind the scenes right away, not in the front of the coach's mind. And we've seen Jaap Stam have guys that he sticks with, like Garza, case in point. Garza had a good match last match, right back in there. He does not change the team up, it seems, just because a guy has had a run of matches. He's only going to change if he feels like that gives the team a better chance to win. So Cruz needs to stay healthy and continue to come on and make the team better. Now, the fact that he's not even in the 18 today tells me one of two things. Either there's already a trade lined up for him, which is total speculation, or his injury is worse than he thought when he was on the bench for last match.
Larry Wickel says, Coach, do you feel like we generally seem less sure with the ball at our feet moving forward than our opponents? And then literally just below it, he goes, feels like we stumble, hesitate, and miss hit more than others.
Yeah, I think 100%. And I think what you were saying, Brad, about the gelling of the team is a little bit to do with that. It's split seconds here we're talking about. And Zhao, even, who seems really sure with the ball at his feet, he makes a step over and cuts inside and looks to make the pass, and the player's not running. And so now all of a sudden he doesn't know what to do because he had one idea there. Mm-hmm. I always told my players, I would ask them, when do you have to know what you're going to do with the ball? And the answer is before you get it. It's the only way you can keep a high speed of play. Well, right now, the team cannot know where the ball is going before they get it because they don't know what their teammates are doing.
Yep. And a lot of the guys are still kind of playing out of position. Amaya's playing in a 6. I think that's probably the first time he's ever played there. Zhao's right wing back. You're seeing players like Kubo and De Jong, who Kubo has been, kind of like a second striker or a winger, and he's playing central midfield, and De Jong is more of an attacking player than, say, a defensive player. Mm-hmm. So again, it's new team, new teammates, new positions, a lot of transition. Honestly, if we're being fair here, that FC Cincinnati is probably not practicing too much as far as, I would say, like tactics midweek, because everything's got to be recovery right now. They're just doing regen sessions probably between matches. So there's probably not a lot of, on the ball work being done. I could maybe you disagree, Coach, but I kind of, from what Lahoud was saying, it's kind of what he gets. And this week, midweek here will be the first time FC Cincinnati doesn't have a midweek game in several weeks, so maybe they can get some type of work done. But
yeah, I think you're right. I think that I think they probably do work a lot on tactics, so to speak, but I think it's more in a walkthrough and a film type session, right? So they are working a lot on where do you go, when do you go, but that doesn't help once things are going game speed and you're moving with the ball at your feet with defenders breathing down your neck. So, being on the pitch in game-like situations, even in training, is really important to start to learn how fast a guy is, where he likes to cut in the box for crosses, things like that. And you're right. I doubt the team is getting to do much of that at all.
I just love seeing Regaton. He's like Mighty Mouse, man. Him and Amaya, they just go all out. Their work rates are unbelievable.
I predicted when I did Regaton's scouting report for the website that he was going to be a fan favorite because of his work ethic. I think he's going to have to endear himself a little more with a few big goals or something, big assists before that truly happens. But you're right. He is fun to watch because he just works so hard.
I mean, think about this. Like when you get when you get more depth on the wings, I think we would probably envision him more coming off the bench. He's a darn dangerous player. I think when you go 60th minute on, I'd love to see him and how he would move when FC Cincinnati truly is on an equal level talent wise.
I 100% agree with that. And, he should be playing on the wing. Right now we see him playing as a second striker, which again, you talk about players playing out of position. He is not, that's not his spot.
How's that a foul?
I don't know. It looks like maybe he was calling a different foul, not Van der Werf, but something just before that, based on where he pointed for the free kick. So who knows?
Jesse Garrett, love the big diagonal switches to Joe. Really opens Columbus up.
Yeah, and if Joe keeps getting to the byline and whipping in crosses, Columbus is going to have to be worried about that. Now, he hasn't gotten one into a position where somebody's been able to connect and really give Columbus a scare yet. But I have to imagine Porter is furious that he's getting that much space. And once you start to adjust for the way the other team is playing, it opens up more things. And that's what we'll see. Locadia get more space in the middle. We'll see Kubo get more space in the middle. So that's the hope.
Right now, we're seeing 174 passes to 167 passes Crew versus FC Cincinnati. So to me, that's a pretty positive sign. You're seeing possession 51-49. FC Cincinnati's had the better of the last 10 minutes, I'd say. 21 duels won versus 13 for FC Cincinnati. 6 tackles won. I think FC Cincinnati is definitely the more physical team right now, asserting how they want to play.
There's too much space on those cutbacks.
Good play, Van der Werf. Man, I love what he and Wasson are doing. I don't even mind what DePlan's doing lately. I think he gets he's picking up a lot of slack from fans right now. But man, I just love what Wasson and Van der Werf are doing, especially on both sides of the ball.
I agree 100%. I think both players, Waston was my man of the match last match against Fire. Not only he's certainly winning all his aerial duels, which we expect of him, but he's doing well stepping into the midfield, not giving the strikers any space. I think he's been good. That said, I think it's because they're playing in a back five. I think you put him in a back four, there's a lot more ground to cover, and I think he gets precipitously worse.
Yeah. Great. And when we lack so much chemistry in the attack, it means we absolutely have to convert on the few chances we get.
Yeah, and also the team just needs to keep it simple. There's no reason. It's like what we go back to when we said we would have liked to see Zhao try to convert that chance himself. When you're not necessarily on the same page, why try to thread a ball through traffic to a teammate when you have an opportunity? Even like I said, if your opportunity is marginally worse, only one thing has to go right for it to go in: you. If your teammate has a marginally better opportunity, your pass has to be right and their shot has to be right. That's two things that have to go right. So just because they're in a better position does not always mean you should give them the ball.
Mm-hmm. And you never scored on a shot you didn't take.
Absolutely. And I'm not advocating just shooting from, everywhere and just like passing up better opportunities. I just think, especially when you have the ball in the box and you're Joe Zhao, we've seen him be able to just roast guys. Why not keep the ball at your foot there and dare them to try to put a tackle in on you? Your speed and power there. There's a really decent chance you're going to get fouled.
And Licati is right there too. If Room mishandles it, if it gets deflected, how many goals do you see? How many clean goals do you see? You see so much. You see so many just coming off little deflections, missed balls, deflected balls. You just got to put it in the mixer and see what happens.
Absolutely, it's another old coaching adage. They say, "How much room do you need to shoot?" And players will tell you half a yard, a step. And the answer is 9 inches, which is the width of a standard size 5 soccer ball. That's all the room you need, because any little toe sticks out and deflects it. It's only going to help you a lot of the time.
We're at I'm at 35-41 here. So Crew had a couple chances here. Looks like FC Cincinnati's kind of collecting themselves, getting back into shape.
Yeah, this is the part of the match where, things start to slow down. Both teams have been into it, had some of the ball. They're a little calmer. They've run a bit of that adrenaline out. And this is the time when FC Cincinnati needs to be able to keep the ball and create some opportunities, because transition is going to be huge when both teams are starting to kind of slow down a bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're starting to see a little bit, fatigue, not tired, but just, playing 36 minutes. I think you just saw that long ball kind of lob in there versus hit with some pace. FC Cincinnati needs to stay aware, no cheap fouls like you just saw Garzid pick up.
I'm okay with fouls in the middle third that are, not enough to get you carded, no persistent infringement, but that just kills the play, makes them kind of set back up, lets you get in shape. The problem is when you start to foul, in the final third. So, Graydon, that's a great question. I do not think that it is Stom. In fact, I know that Stom constantly is on Zhao to take people on. Stom wants Zhao to just take the game over. So my guess is that Stom is going to be in Zhao's ear saying, man, you got to have a go on that one. I mean, I don't know that for certain, but I think it's not necessarily confidence. I bet Joe thinks that he can score. I don't think he's not a confident guy, but I think it's, you look up and you see a teammate and you think your teammate's in a better position. So you give it to him. And it's like, you need to have the hubris to think, even if they're in a bit better position, I'm still more likely to score. So I'm going to go for it. We heard Mike LaHood say it on the podcast on the main show when we were talking about penalties. He said, I sat on the sideline and watched somebody else miss. And I said, never again. I want to be, even if it's me missing, I want that in my hands. You got to have that confidence that, like, I'm going to take the shot. If it's going to be a miss, I want to be the one missing.
It's like some play here. Waston just abusing Darlington Nagbe.
Nagbe is so slippery in tight spaces. You can't get too tight on him, because he will, I call it rolling you, when he's able to spin and get in between you and the goal. And you got to be tight on him, but you cannot get too tight or he will slip past you. And that's the kind of thing where, even if it's a different player, if he's been fouled 4 or 5 times, and, we've seen how whiny Porter can get. Porter's probably in the fourth official's ear counting fouls, how many times Nagbe's been fouled. And you're going to see a card here, if not now, any minute.
There it is.
I think that could be persistent infringement, not necessarily Frankie, but just the number of times Nagbe's been fouled.
Well, if that's Amaya's, that will be Amaya's 5th. And that would mean he will miss New York City.
Yep.
Yeah, I'd say a little soft there. I think Guido's probably just trying to get rein the match in.
Again, I think the foul itself was soft for a card. I don't think that was for that foul. I think that was for the number of times Nagbe's been fouled. It's for the Waston foul earlier. Nagbe got pulled back by, I think, Regaton a little while ago. I mean, that's probably the 5th or 6th time Nagbe himself has been fouled. Mm-hmm. Thanks, Doc. Doc agrees with me.
Uh-oh, I see an oof here. Okay, we'll see. Just so you all know, you're just the StreamYard that we broadcast off of has about a 15-second delay. So you're watching the match, and then wherever we are, and then you get it 15 seconds-ish later. Woo, I see it. And then Nordecka goes wild. Psych.
Nagbe again, man. I'm finding a guy on the pitch that doesn't have any yellow cards this year, and I'm going to tell him, you're the next guy to foul Nagbe, and we'll just keep rotating through. It's like the hack-a-shack method from back in the day.
Dr. Darcy, you're doing fine. Sorry, Dr. Darcy, you're doing fine.
Oh, yeah, we're used to it.
Yeah. Tell you what, man. They say FC Cincinnati could have had Nagbe last year, and they said that deal was almost done. That would be a franchise changer. I mean, if we could have got him, no matter how bad we are, he could have gotten and settled some things down. Guy's just awesome. And so that's why I'm so excited to see what Makocho can do when he gets here. I'm not expecting him, honestly, to really contribute a ton till 2021, but you just see what a guy has done in midfield for the Crew. Will Trapp was good, but Nagbe just takes that to just the absolute next level with what Porter wants to do. And you also see him get involved in the attack. And you're seeing him play a little bit higher up today because you don't have the attacking players there for the Crew. And the guy just can just control so much of the game. I can't be a bigger fan.
He might be the best in the MLS at what he does, which is keep the ball in tight spaces and burst forward on the dribble. He's not a particularly great goal scorer, even though we saw him score a worldie a couple matches ago. He's not a particularly dynamic passer, not a wonderful tackler, but just that ability to be on the ball, no matter how many bodies he has around him, and maintain possession and actually wriggle free and burst through on the dribble.
So we're 41 minutes in. How are you feeling? How are you feeling as an FC Cincinnati fan? Are you feeling better than kickoff? How do you feel things are progressing?
I'm feeling a little more nervous lately. I think that I'm seeing Nagbe get more and more time on the ball. We saw the first yellow card issued for what I'm assuming is persistent infringement, which means Nagbe, people are going to have to be careful putting in tackles on him even more. So I think that Crew are going to get some set piece opportunities. I think we've seen them get possession inside the FC Cincinnati box a couple times. I just think they're knocking on the door. They haven't been able to breach yet, so that feels pretty good. And I think 0-0 at halftime, a chance to calm down and get into the second half, I think will be welcome for this team. I
said it several times this year on March to Match Day. FC Cincinnati has got to get through the 30th to 30, through the 30th, 35th minute. And, once FC Cincinnati can get through there, I feel like it's game on. And, with tired legs, FC Cincinnati keeping it compact defensively, it's going to make things tougher and tougher to score. I guess my next benchmark for FC Cincinnati is, can they keep this game tied, or can they even find a lead before Jazzy Zardes gets into the match? I think once Jazzy gets into the game, the Crew are just going to throw more and more forward.
Yeah, I agree with that. Porter is really not going to want to draw this match.
Nope.
I would look if it's still 0-0, getting into about the 60th minute. I would really look to see Porter make some changes and Crew to really press forward. Now, if FC Cincinnati, like you said, could either be ahead by one or tied at that point, that'll give them a chance to hit on the break, as long as they can stay solid defensively.
Mm.
I'll be interested to see coming out of halftime what Stom's solution is for the amount of space Nagby has been getting. Does he ask one of the midfielders to pay particular attention to him, or does he simply make his guys aware and just ask them to do a better job? So it'll be interesting to see if he actually changes his tactics to account for Nagby, or if he just kind of lets it be.
Right, like how effective can Frankie be on that yellow? And those are all questions that he's going to have to ask. Dude, I have got neighbors behind our house just absolutely going ape on fireworks right now. So if you see me just going nuts over here, I know it's Labor Day weekend, but my goodness, it sounds like a battery going off.
You know who's disappeared from this match is Fatai Alashe for Columbus. I think that he's dropped into a deep role, allowing Nagby to push more forward. Nagby operating almost as like a second forward
it's like
a lot of this match now.
Columbus is playing 4-4-2. They've definitely switched roles. All right, looks like we're going to have 2 minutes of stoppage time here. Matthew Duplan getting pretty far up the pitch there for a second.
I would like to see FCC on the ball here, like kill the rest of this match out. And I don't mean just sit on it until the whistle, but I would like to see them to mount one more good attack going forward and not leave Columbus a lot of time to build back.
That was a nice little forearm Fernando Adi threw into Siem de Jong.
Yeah, now this is the kind of thing, Duplan hits a useless ball, turns it over, and now Columbus has a full minute and a half to build and work the ball forward and create something. That's what I didn't want to see.
Here's King Harrison. He's still not liking what he's seeing.
Again, I think that Siem and Garza doing a really good job working together on pressure cover over there. I've been really impressed what I've seen so far, especially because de Jong is not known for his defensive work. So he's been good.
Since I gave you guys the update, I want to say like the 38th or 36th minute possession is slaying it back in Crew favor, 56-44.
Interesting take by Ross Diddy there. Frankie isn't a starter yet. It's tough, because I wonder if this team was really settled and we felt really good about this roster, if he would be a starter. Like, we love him because he's been one of the better players for FC Cincinnati. But I guess in reality, when you think of what he does a lot of things really well, but he doesn't really change games. So maybe Frankie isn't quite a starter yet. I wonder how many other teams in MLS he would start for.
You got to keep in mind he's 19 still, 20 maybe. I think he's still 19. And for us, it feels like he's a 2-year veteran, savvy guy, but he's still learning the game. And you think about it too, why I can't be as hard on Frankie as I am on some other guys, because Frankie he's had 5 head coaches. Good catch. 5 head coaches in a year and a half, and it's got to be tough as a young guy coming out of college as a number 10, being originally put in as number 8. That's where he got minutes last year. Now he's thrown in the 6 role. But we have hit halftime in FC Cincinnati versus Columbus, 0-0, kind of a split match. So let's get your 3-minute or your 3-word takes here on Twitter and Periscope, Instagram, Facebook, whatnot. Looks like they're going to interview Coach Stom here. Yeah, let's see your 3-word takes. I've got a take from Truth Adair here. In all seriousness, when do we ever generate anything going forward that isn't Joe Zhao?
Yeah, it's a good question because he is the biggest threat going forward. That said, I think that there's room to improve there, meaning there's other good players that can create things. I think I would really, if I was Tom, really look to focus in on Jurgen Locadia in the middle third. I would ask the team to see how many balls that they can ping into Jurgen's feet and see if he can play one touch off of that out to Seam or out to Kubo, maybe even out to Zhao, and then roll and try to get in behind. So I would look for what people call it in rec soccer a lot is like a short long, into Zhao's feet, have him bump it out to the midfield and spin and go. That's what I would think that I would want to do if I was Tom.
Jeremy Schran, please score soon. From Truth or Dare. By the way, Brad, that was a nice therapy session between you and Boston on March Match Day. Since we got all this talent around here, you got Coach Jeff Warner, Michael Hood. I don't get to give my own opinions anymore, Matt. So it's kind of nice to have Boston, ask me some questions and get to be, interview. But if I'm Subs here, I throw the talent out front, man. Kick my little ginger butt onto the other, the other podcast. So.
It was like a little fireside chat, though. I enjoyed it as well. It was quiet and calm, and it's great.
Yeah, Boston and I, we're OGs around here. We're in our 5th season, which is hard to believe. So,
I'm unfamiliar. Say so, Minaj with Nicki Minaj. Who does he play for? Is he a Columbus player? He's not an FCC player.
Oh, geez, Louise. Yeah,
I'm joking. I know who Nicki Minaj is, by the way, in case you didn't get that. I have no thoughts.
I think isn't she a good chef around town?
Something. She's a good something.
Mm-hmm. I think y'all should get more respect. Put my complaint into Subs. You know what, Matt? The moment you made Subs read Liverpool is greater than or better than United, superior than United. I don't think you have much clout with him. Used it all up right there.
Even though it's just speaking the truth, at least at the moment.
I'll tell you what. Brad and I were both Spurs fans. My gosh, the offseason Chelsea's putting in has gotten me nervous.
Must be nice to have a Russian oligarch that owns your team, man, or a United Arab Emirates or something, a Saudi prince. I don't know, but all I know is Daniel Levy and Lord Sugar looking like they're living in the POV compared to some of these teams.
That's why I just even though not a Liverpool fan, I can completely appreciate what they're doing.
Exactly.
How they built that team. That's what it's all about. That's why I love the beautiful game. It's when like Roman Abramovich comes in, and I don't know. Personally, I just don't know how you can get behind it. But especially if you're not like a fan who grew up with them.
I agree. 100%. I'll be honest. I'm not saying I would ditch them, but I would have a really hard time if Spurs were sold to a Saudi prince or something and just had a huge influx of money. I would have a really hard time with that. Mm-hmm. But yeah, you're right. You're dead right on Liverpool, and they play the way that teams should play: the high press, moving the ball quick, exciting, attacking soccer. It's what Spurs have always been famous for, until very recently.
Have you watched the Amazon special?
Yeah, I did. I watched episode 1 of it. I'm going to continue on it. I'm not in a rush since they're only releasing 3 at a time or something.
3 at a time. So I think the next 3 are coming tomorrow or Tuesday. Uh-oh. Apparently a bar right down the street from my house has got they're in trouble for giving out spirits past curfew. All right, now with the Spurs thing, I know I just caught my eye. With the Spurs thing, I honestly, I'll probably watch it sometime, but I'm just still not anxious to be reminded that Poch was our coach and now it's Mourinho.
Yeah,
I cannot believe Poch doesn't have a job yet either. Like,
I'm sure what
the hell happened?
He has his pick. He's just waiting. I mean, for sure.
I love that guy. He was awesome. The thing that pisses me off was that the Spurs 3 years ago, they had a chance to back up, Eriksson and Kane and Dele Alli and Son with more talent, and they just sat there. So T. Arnold, 3 words: need another beer. I need some ice. is what I need. I need ice. I don't think my wife is watching. She's probably asleep. Is it? Nah, she's probably up. She's got 27 more minutes till it's bedtime. She's one of those ladies that she's great, but she'll like wake up at 6:30 if it's a Monday or if it's a Saturday, and then like when it hits 8 o'clock at my house, she's like slamming doors, and I'm like waking up jilted.
So I was looking through some stats here, Brad, and I noticed so Locadia has the fewest number of touches on the team with 16. And that's kind of what I was saying about getting him more involved, because getting him involved not only gets him touches, gets him in rhythm, but it occupies the Columbus center backs. If you can pull them forward into the midfield by getting the ball to Locadia's feet, then once you get behind, now they're running towards their own goal, trying to defend crosses, which makes it quite a bit more difficult. So I think that's going to have to change. And Yuya Kubo has only one better with 17 touches. Those two are the lowest. So I think that's going to have to change if FC Cincinnati is going to have any joy in this match.
What do you think would be the first change Stam would make?
So you're talking personnel, not tactically, right?
Personnel.
My guess is that we'll see Medunjanin come on. I would imagine for De Jong, but it's hard to tell from there. Maybe for Frankie because of the yellow card. Although if you trust Frankie to not get another, he's going to get a good long rest after this match, unfortunately. But I think Medunjanin will come on and be asked to look to drop in some longer passes over the top to Zhao, maybe onto Locadia's chest, so Regaton can run off, that sort of a thing.
Yeah, I'm looking at the heat maps between the two teams, and it's. This match is playing in the middle third. It's not playing in the other teams. The other teams like final thirds. It's just staying right around the center. Maybe a little bit slanted towards FC Cincinnati's side, but
yeah, it's interesting, and you see how much FC Cincinnati is really favoring going up the side of Zhao's side. So that question before, do they create anything that's not Zhao going forward? With how successful Zhao has been going forward, I'm not sure that that's a bad thing. Continue to feed him the ball until they stop. Until they're able to stop him.
Mm-hmm. All right. Looks like they're about ready to get things back up and started in the capital city of Columbus, which also holds the great the Ohio State University. Probably won't lose a game in football this year, but looks like we'll get up and started soon. Halftime: New England, Chicago 1-1, DC, NYCFC 0-0, Philly, Red Bulls 1-0, Philly 0-0, Minnesota, Real Salt Lake. Not a lot of scoring going around in MLS today, but Tommy G looking sharp as always. If you look at the shots for FC Cincinnati, FC Cincinnati leads 7-4, but I do still see a lot coming from outside the box. Now you got a couple ahead. I think some. I think they were. If you look at them again, they were probably low chance headers. But that's one area where I wish FC Cincinnati could get the ball, like you said, into that zone 14, higher percentage chances. With some time on the ball, versus, some of the guys just, I think most of the time we get there, they're low chance deflections, but I would just love FC Cincinnati to get some coherence going forward.
Yeah, those shots from distance have to be so good because they have to make their way through a sea of bodies. It gives the goalkeeper time to react. So if I am right, I believe all 4 of those shots from outside the box from FC Cincinnati were blocked. I don't think any of them made their way through, even to go wide or high, which just shows you how difficult that is.
All right. Dr. Darcy Kruger asks, what do you use for real-time stats? If you're on your phone, actually, while I'm looking up the name of it, on your computer, Coach uses We Scored.
Who scored?
Who scored? Who scored? Excuse me. Who scored?
Yeah.
I like, if I can find it, it's called Stats Zone on my phone.
It's a great app.
Love it. and they're actually very responsive. Like if you want to see certain things added to their stats page, they will add it, because originally like they weren't. I would say it's definitely a European site, but they cover everything. But I love that for some of the impacts. We got soccer 2664. They got the nice Muskies logo. I'll take that. Do you think Kubo would be better up front?
He's been really good actually in the midfield. I think that it's not his best position. I think he would be better up front, but I think the question is who slides in to that spot. And I don't think you have a natural replacement, because you could put Harrison, but then you have Harris, De Jong, and Frankie in the midfield, and that's tough. There's not another attacking type of player that would be good in that midfield role. So I do think he would be better up front. But I think in terms of what the best team Stam has to work with, as long as Cruz is out anyway, involves Kubo in the midfield.
I think he probably just trusts Kubo on the ball more than Stanko, right?
Yeah, I think 100%. And also, Kubo is playing in that role where they're hoping to combine and get him forward, like we saw in the one chance in the first half when he whipped that cross that Locadia just missed. That's what they want out of Kubo. They want him running from the midfield, getting on the ball. Whereas, Stanko's not going to give that at all. De Jong's not going to give that at all. He's much more of a play the ball at his feet, turn and look to create with a pass. So again, it depends also what you want out of that position.
Right. That was a good one. Make sure you get your questions answered before we start back up here. We keep getting spammed by Says So Minaj. Is Nicki Minaj the queen of rap? Hell yeah, she is. You kidding me? I'm all about that bass, man.
Speaking of questions, I am so excited that Gerard Nijkamp is coming on the Monday show. And I think not that I can guarantee we'll ask him all of them, but I think if you have questions for Gerard, make sure you tweet or at Cincy Soccer Talk, or send an email into feedback at cincinnati-soccertalk.com with those questions.
Yeah, because I appreciate him wanting to come on and talk to us, and I want to hear how he really wants to play and how he goes in to select the players he does. I want to know about how the cheese is made. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And what goes like the analytics group. I want to get that guy on. And if you're big into analytics, Laura Fowler on her Patreon had Alex Schramm in an interview. So make sure you log on to her Patreon and read that. I want to know what he's doing and how he is building this organization to find players like a Barrial, but then a Makocho. Like, those are guys that are two completely different spectrums. So how does a team in Cincinnati pick and choose those types of players? So
absolutely,
I'd absolutely love to hear that.
And I want to find out how I need to submit my application to be on the analytics team or on the eyes in the sky. I don't need to be on the field wearing an FCC coaching kit and coaching out there. I'd be happy to sit up in the booth and just radio down to the field with what I see. I can do that.
Well, what coaching cert do you have? What's your highest level there, coach?
I only stopped at D, the national D, because I never had to go beyond that. I was coaching in college at the time, and I had plans to get my C, but I just never got around to it. So that would hold me back. But
T. Arnold says, what is the thought on how they are freeing up an international slot? And to be honest here, I think it's a green card via Michael van der Werf. I don't know that as 100%, but Laurel Fowler has been told that it's a green card, and if you just put two and two together, Van der Werf was in Amsterdam. I think it was in Amsterdam, but whatever. He was in this country for I want to say it was like a week and a half after players came back after the MLS's back tournament. He actually went over there, so he probably had to go over there, meet with the U.S. I don't want to say it was consul's office, but with the right powers that be. So that seems to be like the logical spot to get Barrial in here. Plus, then they made the trade, so we should have plenty of international spots, I would expect. That's going to be the key for Major League Soccer going forward. As we kick off the second half, it's how can you play that right game to mix the domestic player base with international talent. I think it's kind of a tough go as the Crew makes a sub with Luis Diaz and for Yunus Mokhtar. But I mean, a tough go how you're going to build your teams going forward, because MLS is prioritizing the U22 players, so that tends to be international players. FC Cincinnati is going to have a difficult time for, I would say, the foreseeable future on the domestic front, just because they don't have the academy producing MLS talent like a lot of people think the Red Bulls, but honestly, right now it's the Philly. So I think that's going to be an interesting thing as we keep moving forward, how each team can utilize the green card process. Graydon Cohen, do you think they would trade Cruz while Wasson is still on the team? Obviously, they're close. This is more of a personal question. To be honest, I think that both players know that this is a professional business, and the only thing that really matters is how you perform and what benefit you are to a club.
Part of what makes them close is the fact that they play on the Costa Rican national team, and then they ended up in Cincinnati together.
Right.
Ooh.
They called a handball on Garza there, and he is pissed. I'm not even going to say livid. I'm going there. It was close. I don't know. But Guido is going to endear his all FC Cincinnati faithful to him.
I think it's a harsh call, but I do think it hit his arm or his hand. And if that's the case, it might have come back on VAR anyway.
I'm trying to figure out this streaming thing here, Coach, so pardon me.
That's all right. Just don't remove yourself again. I had to talk for
dude,
straight.
It's this damn mouse here. It's got these things on the side, and it totally exited me out. I was pissed. I was just talking. I'm like, I asked you a question. I'm like, he didn't answer, and I'm like, oh shit, it's gone. Oops. Oh well.
So
we're fine.
With Columbus bringing Luis Diaz on the pitch, I think that's something to really watch, because he really loves to run behind. He is going to try to get in behind all the time.
Matt, I swear to God, don't do that to me.
It might still be a goal. We're a minute behind.
I doubt it. Ooh, that is not a handball. But you can't, anytime you leave your arm out there. I don't know. Matt, if you did it, I swear to God, yeah, you suck. You don't suck. You're absolutely phenomenal, Matt. I love you. Matt is a massive contributor to CST's Foot Golf Classic, which we will return in 2021. Just wasn't going to work out this year.
God willing.
But I still have some awesome remote control monster trucks. So Matt is a beast. What is going on? We're just getting spammed on Periscope. We're getting spammed. I guess something's coming up big in September 18th, but I don't know who that is. But I also don't listen to music. Do you listen to music? I don't listen to music, like legit. In my car, I'm audiobooks and podcasts.
Yeah, I'm a big podcast fan. I listen to music sometimes when I'm like in the kitchen doing dishes or something, but only when I'm totally caught up on my podcast, which these days without a commute is not very often.
Well, yeah, dude, like, I'm a traveling sales guy in the manufacturing world. And, I normally put, it's not strange for me to put, 5, 6, 7, 800 miles a week on my car. And now it's not even close to that. So it's tough. Woo. A Crew definitely on the front foot the early 5 minutes of this half. Definitely the ball going through the box.
We have the answer to how Stam is going to account for Nagby, and that is he just didn't worry about it, or he did, and the players aren't listening to him, because Nagby twice has had the ball in zone 14 wide open, just looking to dish the ball out wide to Luis Diaz or try to cut it in.
Harrison Affle getting up up forward more, man. He's a guy. He does scare me. You see so much coming from him in years past with Columbus, but I'm not sure Caleb Porter knows how to completely get him involved yet. But Luis Diaz is definitely looking to make more moves happen than Yunus Mukhtar, who was, I would say, more conservative in getting forward. Diaz looks dangerous, especially around Garza there. Good play, Amaya.
Diaz is more of a traditional wide player. He's a winger. He wants to get on the ball wide and look to drive it in. Mukhtar likes to pick the ball up in those half spaces, kind of a little bit more centrally. And I think this is a dedicated game plan from Porter, overloading that right side with Luis Diaz and with Harrison Offal, and really trying to make Garza and De Jong make some decisions here. And so far it's working. It makes me nervous. I think Stam is going to have to do something to shore up the left side of Cincinnati's defense.
Waston got just annihilated from the back.
Yeah, I think that's twice we've seen Adi lead with the forearm. And there he goes again. Was it something I said? Guys, you let me know if I'm offending you, because apparently Brad just can't stand to sit here and listen to me talk too much.
I didn't even do nothing. All of a sudden I was gone. Uh-oh, something's not good. I'm seeing guys puke. Giving us bad, something doesn't look good.
Yep, it's that right side.
There's Oh, shoot. You're seeing Sanch, I think, score on the left.
Yep.
Ball gets right through the box. You were saying it. They were going up the left side, having a ton of success.
Yeah, I think that Garza just cannot keep up with Luis Diaz. Diaz didn't even do anything, and he just blew by Garza. I think that that's a problem area, and I think that it's going to continue to be unless Stam makes a change there.
You think the change is Gutman, or you think the change is geez Louise, you had De Jong going, he was way out of position, leaving Garza on the island, but Garza still's got to break up the play somehow. Oh, missed. Seen the replay, Waston tried to step. I mean,
I think there's two ways to fix that. I'll have to go back and really analyze where Santos came from. I think Gutman for Garza could be a like for like that could help with that. But I think another thing you could do is if you did put Medunjanin in for De Jong and shift Frankie out to the left, I think that also could help mitigate that.
Anytime you put the ball in the mixer, guys, it's going to create, it's going to create chances. And it just got right through.
Yeah, well, FC Cincinnati is going to have to get a goal, if they're going to want to win soccer matches. I heard it was our own Ken Hecker that said something like, if FC Cincinnati would have scored one goal over the past 3 matches, they would be like in 5th place or something. Way up the table.
They would have scored a goal in one of the matches they tied. They would have been in 6th place, I think.
Yeah, and I mean you have to score to win.
Margins are tight, and I was saying this on March Match Day this week. If you would have said that FC Cincinnati only lost 2 of the first, was it 6 games, or I guess we've had three draws and a loss since we've come back and we're down this game. But if you would have given us, 3 positive-ish results, I would have taken it. But if I would have found out they were all draws, I'm kind of like, because there's progress being made still.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And that's really what this season is about. You don't want to say it as a fan because you always want your team to go for it and go for wins. But in reality, when you look at the big picture, this season is about setting the team up for success next year, opening the West End Stadium.
Yeah, I mean, because the team's still fundamentally flawed right now. There's no depth. There's no adequate depth. Vasquez is a terrible like-for-like sub with Locadia, I would say. You can disagree, but I would say that. You don't have...
I don't know. I would disagree. I think that he's just young and has potential. Yeah. I don't think he's the best deputy. Like the guy that's going to come in for Locadia on an injury or something. I think that he's not. I think he's more of a guy that you want to be third on the list. Because he does have a lot of potential.
But you got a bunch of similar midfielders. You got a bunch of number 8s. You don't have really a number 6 or a number 10.
Absolutely.
I just it's telling to me that Jaap Stam is only willing to play 12 or 13 guys. If we're not including goalies, it's like 12.
Yeah, and that actually it makes me nervous. Because I think MLS is one of those leagues where it's so important with all the travel, even not in seasons like this where you're traveling on game day. With all the travel across the United States, I think being able to rotate your team is so important in MLS.
That was a pretty soft foul that they called on Deplan on Sanj. What substitutions are you hoping for this half? I'd like to see Cruz and Gutman. Well, Jesse, I am sorry. Alan Cruz did not dress. But the Gutman one's one. I think I might like to see Harris come in at some point for one of the 3 midfielders.
It's the only other real attacking substitution that the team has to make is Harris, who ironically plays as a number 6, but he's a good passer as a number 6. You have Brandon Vasquez and you have Harris Medunjanin. And then you could make an argument that Gutman might be able to get it forward a little more than Garza. But other than that, you have a whole bunch of defenders and goalkeepers.
Yep, Jeremy, the comments are getting weird. I think we're getting botted here. Let's see who's on the bench for FC Cincinnati here. Let me see if I can find it. You've got Gutman, which I think could be a sub. I don't see Tom Peterson or Zico Bailey coming in. Medunjanin's the only one I think that I would probably put in at the 60th-ish minute to see if you can give a different look. Maybe I think I would probably switch out De Jong. He's just not doing anything for me. Maybe you put Medunjanin a little deeper, give him some creative, deep lying playmaking responsibilities, and let Kubo and Frankie try to go in that number 8 role and see what can happen. I would love to see FC Cincinnati utilize Garza more going forward. And now I say that Gutman I see jumping up and down, so it looks like they might pull him in as a more attacking player here. But I'd like to see both sides of the field for the attack, because the Crew know that the only way right now is through Zhao. And if nothing comes from that, yep, here we go, Medunjanin and Gutman. If nothing comes from Zhao, FC Cincinnati's lacking. So I think just to give FC Cincinnati some unpredictability, bring Gutman in, bring Medunjanin in for maybe De Jong or no, it's Kubo, and see what they can do.
Yeah, I think what you're going to see is De Jong slide forward into more of a true number 10 role. And I think you're going to see Harris and Frankie play in more of a double pivot, would be my guess. But ultimately, somebody's going to have to step up, whether it's Zhao actually not only doing great and getting up the wing and getting in behind, but maybe taking some shots, whether it's Locadia coming up with a moment of brilliance. Somebody's going to have to do something. We have not seen this team be able to simply sit back and knock the ball around and create chances. Somebody is going to have to come up with something big. T. Arnold, go to CincinnatiSoccerTalk.com and search double pivot. I wrote an article about it. Basically, it's 2 number 6s, 2 holding mids, and they kind of play alongside each other, a right-sided and a left-sided. And they call it a double pivot because they help to shuttle the ball back and forth in possession.
Mm-hmm. Believe it or not, T. Arnold, it's like our 5th highest rated article. It's like every week it's still guaranteed like massive numbers, and we haven't even pubbed it for a couple months.
Yeah, I think Boston said if you Google double pivot, it's one of the top hits.
Yeah.
That's why it's still getting clicks.
It's awesome. Yeah. If FC Cincinnati would, play something different than a bunker encounter, we'd come out with some other ones.
Yeah.
That's because Jeremy Schran, that's because coach is awesome. You know what? Coach was just putting out stuff on his Instagram. I want to say like last year, and I was like, guys, we've got to get this guy. So I DM'd him. He's like, yeah, come on. I'm like, is definitely one of the best, if not the best thing that we've done. Because I don't want to piss off anybody.
Well, but, Michael Hood, I think, has a shout at that, but I'm happy. I enjoyed doing it. Yeah, so it's been good. I think we'll continue to grow. I'm going to start doing some more videos. I did one already on YouTube. If you go to Cincinnati Soccer Talks YouTube page, there's a video on which I explained something. I don't even remember what I talked about on there, but I'm looking at doing a few more.
All right, we're in the 60th minute. If you spoilers want to spoil something positive, I am all right with that. But for right now, it kind of looks like the Crew are on the front foot. Not loving the look right now.
It's tough. You look at the bench for FC Cincinnati, and there's just not a whole lot of options. The players that are on the pitch are going to have to figure out how to get it done.
Yep.
And right now, they're just not.
Right now, if we look at the stats, it was even at half at 3-3. Now it's 12-5. So the Crew have had 9 shots in the last 15 minutes. They've bumped up the possession from a relatively split 51-49 to a 61-39. Amaya going high and outside.
Regaton picked that ball up. Regaton was able to pick that ball off, carry it forward, and had Locadia available right away to put in, and chose to keep the ball. He almost turned it over, and it led to a bunch of nothing.
Well, if we can choose a positive, it's that Fernando Adi still has not been able to get on his revenge tour. If we can choose a negative, Joszy Zardes is coming in.
I also think that Adi will laugh all the way to the bank if Crew wins and pretend that he had a big part in it anyway. So
yeah. So it's a lot of what we heard out of the locker room. Fernando Adi pretended he was here. As this game gets deeper and deeper, maybe I'll get rid of more secrets, but probably not. All right. Oh, geez Louise, Jonathan. I remember when Jonathan Mensah was awesome for Ghana, I think, right? It was Ghana.
I don't know.
And I was like, why the hell did he come to Columbus of all places? But dude's a beast. He's literally turned into one of the best center backs in Major League Soccer.
Yeah, he's been good, solid year after year.
Luis Diaz getting up the right again. Yeah, he's from Ghana. That's what I thought.
I do want to say I was making a joke earlier about sitting up in the booth and radioing down, but I for sure would have called down to Stom and said that left side is going to be a problem with Luis Diaz. You might want to consider reinforcing that prior to the goal.
All right. Oops. Sorry, Larry. Goodbye, Larry. I was literally clicking somebody. Oh, fudge. I'm guessing it's not good. Guys, I said the spoilers only need to be positive. Oh, got done to Nagby from outside, passes it wide, and Joszy. I'm guessing it was Joszy because my closed caption was on. Yep, it was probably Joszy. Damn. Well, FC Cincinnati needs to score, and my Growler Cup's looking pretty good.
Yeah, I might get one of my zeros right, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, if you haven't caught on, Joszy Zardes scored a goal, 64th minute. And Fernando Adi's way too excited. Looks like Sanch, I'm guessing it was Sanch. Did Joszy get it? Yeah, I think it was Joszy's. Good goal, man.
Just another case of no pressure in that area of the field. You cannot give a guy a chance to take a shot or take a touch, set his feet, look up, and find a pass.
Who is that?
Time and space.
Was it Zhao that gave up too much time? Who was that?
It was Zhao's side. I didn't see Zhao anywhere. Zhao had come inside. I think it should have been Deplan. It ended up being Frankie, as we so often see Frankie chasing the ball because nobody else will.
They can never make player ratings easy, Coach.
Right.
All right. So, wow. We're still going to, we still got 25 minutes to go. Still time for a comeback here.
I think the reason why Zhao was not there is I think that the team is in a 4-3-3 now.
Gutman's really high right there. Soccer 2664. How many more pieces does the team need to win more or just score occasionally?
I mean, it depends on what pieces you're talking about. If you bring in an elite number 10, like Columbus's Lucas Zelarayan, I think this team can start scoring goals immediately. You know, we don't have any chance creators. Kubo can score. Locadia, we imagine, can score. Regaton has a good goal scoring record, but we don't have any good chance creators. Even for how good Zhao has been for his career, he has not shown that he can create chances on a significant and consistent level.
Let me answer this question by, if you would take, how's that not offside? Okay. If you would take the starting 11 of FC Cincinnati versus starting 11 of Columbus Crew, how many would you take of Columbus versus Cincinnati? And I'm probably like 9. Like, I think if you go up top, Locadia, would you take Locadia over Zardes or Zardes over Locadia?
In current form, I don't think you could take Locadia.
No, right?
Yeah. I think maybe, you know, on reputation alone, I would take Locadia, but
right. But I mean, my question might be like Zardes or Zhao or Mukhtar, you know.
Yeah, I think that's about the only spot on the pitch that I see as a real question mark. And
I think the second center back from Columbus, I'd probably take FC Cincinnati's, but you think about it, it's like 9 or 10.
Yeah, Josh Williams, that might be, but you're right. I do believe that's correct.
I hate to say it. Oh my gosh, this handball. I hate to say it, but there's still a ways to go. And you know, when you get better players around each other and players in their natural positions, you're going to see different things come out. And I think we're still in a transition mode.
Yeah,
that's the best way to say it.
The other good thing to be said is every time FC Cincinnati has been kicked, they've gotten back up and gotten better each match. Columbus winning 4-0, Chicago winning 3-0. Each time they've gotten back up and played better.
I see a sigh from Trent Hummel here. Matt Imholt trying to say, or he's not trying to say, he's saying, do you guys realize we scored the first 3 goals against Columbus in competition? And then since then, they've outscored us 11-1. Brutal, Matt. Brutal. This is true from the champ. Can we play the rest of the season in Orlando? We definitely played better offensively down there. I think we got lucky down there.
I don't think that we played better offensively. I think that, Atlanta, we played against 10 men. I think Red Bulls, we had a touch of luck. I think we're playing better offensively now, getting the ball through the thirds, creating actual real chances. I think we're just still not playing good enough, if that makes sense.
Jeremy Schran says this would be so much easier to swallow if we would just score a goal. And then Colin Rink, will FCC score the rest of the year?
I will bet almost any amount of money that FCC will score again this season. But who knows?
The problem is FC Cincinnati will have played 3 matches against Columbus.
Yeah, I mean
we've played a lot of the tough Eastern.
Yeah, in reality, that's totally true. What I'd be interested in is, we have the question from Graydon Cowan about Barrial. I've watched some of his film, and this guy has a load of potential. I mean, the ball sticks to his feet like Velcro. He is 2-footed. Just watching without actually looking, I couldn't tell if he was right or left-footed. He could really hit it with both feet. And does that mean he's going to be a polished product to come into a professional physical environment and play? The guy's only got like 500 professional minutes, so I don't know that he'll be a starter. But again, if we look at this season as a transition season, if you can get his feet wet in MLS, let him come off the bench some, finish the game 20 minutes here, 30 minutes here. We've seen this team needs attacking options off the bench. I personally believe he's going to be an excellent MLS player, best 11 quality.
My thought is you kind of treat him like we did Joe Zhao last fall, except I think FC Cincinnati is going to play a little bit, deeper in this year. I don't think you can quite count on him for a full 90. He hasn't been playing at Alves, but it's because they got tons of talent there. But we'll see. That's not good. Guess you guys are spoilers, guys. Come on. All right, here we've got Nagbe to Diaz, left-footed, something or other. Oh, geez. Was it King Harrison who headed it to Zardes, and Zardes put it in trash.
Yeah, it's tough.
I think, again, though, I'm not sure it's all systematic. That's my one thing I'm taking out of this, is that wasn't a systematic goal.
Yeah, and we get this is embarrassing. I mean, you never want to lose 3-0. I just, what's embarrassing is to draw the team who set an MLS record last year for goals allowed and lack of goals scored.
Yeah. Zardes just takes his chances. How the hell do you try to chest it down like that in the box, Deplan? Clear it. Why are you trying to take that down?
Yeah, I don't know.
Why are you trying to take that down? That was stupid.
Zardes is going to be one of those guys who gets a hat trick only playing 30 minutes of the match. Yeah, I've said Deplan has struggled a lot. I've said it many times. He's gotten a little bit better at times, but he is the kind of guy who has major mental lapses. We saw it last year. We saw it right there. When he messes up big, falls completely asleep and lets an attacker get in behind him, tries to chest the ball down 4 yards from goal and gives it to the opponent. He messes up big.
No bueno. It will be a miracle if they don't get another.
I mean, if I'm Stom at this point, I am throwing everything forward and saying we got to break the duck and get off the 0 goals scored. I'm telling my team, I'd rather lose 6-1 than 3-0. I just think that they got to find a way to put a ball in the back of the net.
_AL19_. What should I be encouraged about in the future? They're losing every game.
I would say you should be encouraged that they have a coach that appears like he's going to be a good coach in MLS that's going to stick around. That's the first time ever. It's the first time we've had a coach that everybody has looked at and been like, it seems like he's doing the right things. So as long as he can not, continue to say the right things and do the right things, I think that's encouraging. I think that you can be encouraged that the team has gone out and made a couple big signings. I still think Kubo is going to be a very good player. I think Locadia is going to be a good player. I think Makocho is going to be a good player. Barrial, I think he might be the next like now I'm just all of a sudden blanking, the guy who Almiron. Yeah, I think he could be the next Almiron if I'm being honest, like honestly.
We got Brandon Vasquez and Tom Peterson coming into the game. Sorry to interrupt your thought.
No, it's okay.
But that's what I would be. I mean, it's guys, we went 11 or 12 games last year with Johan as coach, and literally the goal was to see who could actually like stick. Like, we're just gonna go out and we're gonna lose 5 or 6 or whatever to Minnesota, but we're going to see who could make it here. And now we're from who can make it here, like just trying to find a couple players to like, let's fill out this roster. We're still having, Band-Aid fixes in certain places, but like we can start setting up this team for long-term growth. And that's why, like I said, we're kind of on a pattern here. It's like 2 steps forward, one game where we have a little bit of a step back or a realization period of like, this is really where we are. But I am still hopeful. We got a coach who knows what he wants to do, knows what he wants to execute. How many times in our previous coaches did we go, man, we really play like crap, but like, somebody made a freak goal and it was great.
Yep.
We can see what they're trying to do. And you look at Miami and Nashville, and it's not easy being a new team. You're seeing what LAFC and Atlanta did, and those are outliers versus like what Philly. It took Philly forever to be good, and it's taken a lot of these teams, even NYCFC is still they're still having struggles, even they've done well in periods, but it's not easy being an expansion club.
100%. I think that the other thing is, and this is not an excuse because the starters need to play better. But we just saw Tom Pedersen come on down a goal in the 75th minute or down 3 goals, in the 75th minute. And that's because look at the subs. There is literally not a single other attacking player. The closest thing to an attacking player that Stam has left on the bench is Caleb Stanko. Literally. Tom Pedersen, because of his passing ability, might be more of an attacking sub.
We put 2 goalies on the bench, guys.
Yeah, anytime you see 2 goalkeepers on the bench, and we're still short. We didn't field a full 18 or whatever is allowed. We're still a player short on the bench.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of interesting to me now. You got Vasquez and Lakota up top.
Yeah, I think it's the first time we've seen that. We might have seen it for a few minutes in another match.
You got Jojo higher. It almost looks like they've kind of shifted to a 4-3-3 now.
I think they did that, honestly, when Gutman came on, which I think is why you saw Columbus be able to score a couple more. I think it's like you said, Brad. I think that it's incremental progress. The thing is you're seeing the team go out and make some signings. These signings are going to take time to get in and to gel. And I think that all we can do to keep positive and to look forward is to take each match and look for what steps were made forward.
Here we go. There's going to be a chance here. Gutman's going up the left side, and I think he's going to cross this ball in here. Ooh, never mind. Excuse me. He tried to cross it, and he got cleared out.
Interesting.
A lot of fans are claiming penalty there.
He might have gotten a toe on the ball, which saved him, but it's hard to see live.
If I was a crew fan, I would probably be like, get up, ish. But I also have seen Musa Sissoko get a crappy PK called on him really early in the Champions League final.
Right.
Scar tissue.
And the other thing, in his defense, he did jump right up immediately. Gutman didn't ask for the foul.
Right? Yeah. Yeah. It's Guido. He owes us one. It would be a lie if I wanted to say Guido probably has some scar tissue against us as well.
And listen, Larry, we're so glad you're still here. That's dedication. We have to be here.
Guy
started this thing, so you just tough it out with us, okay?
I found out tonight that I have to burn the Lacadia t-shirt. Unfortunately, it's a hot design. I love it.
This is the first time we've lost when I've worn my white kit. So,
I'm telling you what, it's got to be Brian who hosts these things, because when Brian hosts, the record's pretty damn good. It's when like Clay or Subs host, we're screwed.
I think Clay hosted last match.
Oh, he did.
It was a tie. It's just you.
Just trying to give him shit. I'm trying to keep Clay honest.
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm terrible. I'm never hosting this again.
At this part, I would settle for an FC Cincinnati goal. A well-worked, not a penalty, not a fluke goal, but a well-worked goal. Call it 3-1 with a goal to FC Cincinnati. I would leave this match feeling, okay, I don't love it, but this team has got to find a way. Got to find a way to score. It's been too long. And we know guys like Locadia, like that's going to weigh on him. The fact that he hasn't scored, each game that goes on just becomes a little bit heavier.
My buddy Tom Beversdorf was talking about early how FC Cincinnati needs to take their chances. And it's like the first 5 minutes, we had several good chances and we didn't take them. And it came back to bite us. You take one of those chances and it turns the tide of the match right away. And too often we're just holding on, which I understand. I don't hate it because I see what we're trying to do. It'd be one thing if we were a team that was in like 11, 12, 13, 14th and we looked like trash. It'd be another one if it's another way if you see us progressing and building. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's why I'm not freaking out. Like, is this where we want to be? Hell no, it's not where we want to be. But we saw what MLS league history worst was last year. And now you've got a plan in place, what you can do, how you can execute that plan. There's metrics there on how the team's playing, and they're starting to hit good patterns, and they're still creating chances-ish. And frequently, it's how do you build upon all that?
Yeah, all 3-0s, 4-0s, whatever, are not created equal, right? This match didn't feel like a blowout until, the second goal. FC Cincinnati was right in this match for a long time and even felt like the better squad for portions of it. So again, 3-0 never feels good. But I felt better about this 3-0 than I did about Chicago. FCC didn't look good against Chicago until the game was so out of hand, Chicago just sat back.
Graydon Cohen writes, just imagine how differently we are feeling about the club if Locadia and Vanderwerf nail a few of those chances if they miss the last few games. It's very truthful.
Yeah, 100%.
Make that run. Ooh.
That's got to be a card.
That was dirty.
Yeah.
Oh, well, then he gets up and just boots it. So. It'd be interesting to see what Jaap Stam has to say about this game. Because, like, even though it's 3-0, I don't feel horrible. Like, I don't know. Maybe you do. But I don't feel as bad as I did at, like, the Fire match, even though it sucks. And I just don't see us being 3 goals down to the Crew.
Yeah, like I said, I agree. Like, this has not been hard to watch until that third goal. That third goal really felt demoralizing. But up until then, it felt like FC Cincinnati was doing some good things.
Like, I like the little interchange. Oh, my gosh. I like the little interchange between Amaya to Locadia and Locadia going out wide. Now, the shot he just took was like what Brian Weigel does on a golf course. Way high and right, but there's still building blocks. My only problem is that the only one who looks like they're playing at full match speed right now is Joe Zhao.
Yeah, overall, I think that you're right. I think that at times you see, Regaton, Frankie look the part. But, I wrote an article not too long ago saying, what I thought FC Cincinnati needed to do position-wise to be competitive. And I said, get a true holding midfielder. We're hoping Makocho is that. But then I said a right back, a center back, and a backup striker. Like we've been saying this whole time, this team is still just really thin. You looked at the bench this match and there was not a single player that I thought, oh man, I wish he was starting, right? Or why isn't he starting? You have one injury, you have a guy like Cruz go down and you all of a sudden don't have any options off the bench.
And it's not even just options off the bench. It's, dynamism off the bench. It's like you bring in Medellin in, but like he's slow. Yeah, he can do a great pass. But like, you imagine if you bring a player, I'm not saying we should do it right now, but like Regaton, he's fast. He makes good cuts. He gets on the ball. He can make passes. He's dynamic. You have a player like him coming off the bench that adds another layer to your squad. Barrial, hopefully he's another piece. What they're going to do this winter. Like, Nykamp can see what he has now and what moves he can make. You saw the Crew, what they were second or third last in the league last year. Now they had a great second half of the year, and I fully expect FC Cincinnati to have a really nice last 12 matches. Like, if FC Cincinnati doesn't have last 12 matches that makes us believe in what they need to do, I'm gonna have problems. But oh, come on. But like, I think FC Cincinnati has some building blocks where they can turn this thing around in 2021.
Yeah, I agree.
Larry Duplan is a right center back. 2. Oh, he's just dogging it back. What's going on, Larry? You're killing me here, fella.
I think it was just that turnover. I mean, Duplan
Oh, good save, DT.
Yeah, Duplan just passed it right to the Columbus defender when FC Cincinnati seemed to be building into something. I mean, it's those kinds of bad turnovers that allow the team to run at you with pace that are killer. You saw Columbus took the ball from the top of their own box down to inside FC Cincinnati's box in about 4 or 5 seconds because they picked the ball up running forward. There's never a great turnover, but good turnovers are when the ball goes out of bounds or the team picks the ball up running towards their own net. You can't give the ball away with the team running towards your goal.
Yeah, Colin, Jimmy off the bench. Why? Effort only? Yeah, I know. I just wanted to see somebody who cares. I'd love to see Jimmy off the bench. I feel like he could do something that we don't have now, but he's not healthy. And I'm not sure he's anywhere close to coming back.
Yeah, he's not fit to play. And I agree. Like when you look at the bench now, Jimmy would have easily made the bench, right? Literally, because there's
easy. He'd be in the game.
Yeah, there's literally an open spot on the bench where FC Cincinnati just didn't field a player, and then another one that's a third string goalkeeper. Yeah. There just are not options off the bench, and Jimmy would have been a great guy to put in for the last 5 minutes here. There's still subs remaining.
Yeah, I mean we're at 86-46. Larry, you're my guy. You're fine. Keep it coming. You're doing all right. But yeah, I mean it's literally Joe Zhao versus the Crew.
They did switch Joe Zhao over to the left wing.
Yeah, I saw that.
Interesting, letting him come in onto his right foot. I hope now that he's on the bench side, I hope Stam is just in his ear saying, Joe, if you don't shoot the ball every time you get it, I'm never starting you again. Obviously, I hope he doesn't actually live up to that, but you got to do something to get him. He dominates so much on the ball. You got to get him having an end product.
I was listening to Sirius XM today, and I think it was a European, I think it was a British show. And they said football is meant to be fun. And I know it sucks right now, but I tell you what, it is so much better than last year. You can see the progress happening, and good things will come. Good things will come, and I feel like FC Cincinnati still has the right crew in place, and I think there will be much better times ahead.
Honestly, if they make the same improvement that they made from last year to now, from now until next year, they're going to be a solid mid-table or better team.
Yeah.
And they're going to win a lot of matches. Maybe still not go out and dominate or maybe even be a chance to win a playoff game or be a home playoff game. I don't know. But that sort of improvement, you have to remember where they started. They botched this build for the first MLS roster so bad that they put themselves behind the 8 ball, and now they're just trying to catch up. And it's going to take a year or so for that to happen. Now I feel like they've caught up to where they should have been off the bat last year. And now they need to start building towards progressing to be competitive.
Yep. Like you see what Nashville's done with Dax McCarty and Walker Zimmerman getting a best 11 center back who can play not just win headers like Kendall.
Yeah, exactly. Nashville is where FCC is now, starting. It's where FCC should have been starting off. You bring in good players, you shore yourself up defensively, and then you try to start to work on making the moves that you need to be competitive.
My one saving grace is that how Carl Linner and his ownership group have invested in this team. Like with Kendall Watson just totally cleaned out Jossie. Like with what he's done with Lacadia, I mean, that wasn't a cheap thing. And then Makocho, while he was on a free, he's going to be a player that eats up salary space. And then Barrial, it's a $1.5 million, $6 million, $7 million number. They're still laying out money in a year where there is no income. There's no income at all. And to get several impact players, that's a hat tip for me. So it sucks. I hate to be a salesman for the club, because I'm not trying to be a salesman for the club. They don't know us anything.
And we're not apologists. If anybody who's listened to any of our podcasts or read our articles knows that we're not out here just pumping, good things about the club.
Yeah.
We'll call them out when they need to be called out. And I'll say they haven't been good enough, not this match and not a lot of matches. But that doesn't mean they're not moving in the right direction.
Right. Yeah.
T. Arnold asks, when we say match fit, we're talking not even for 5 or 10 minutes. We're not talking about not match fit, like doesn't have the air, the lungs. We're talking about has the type of injury that has decreased your strength. They have certain tests, like if you sprain your knee and it comes back and doesn't hurt yet, but when they test your strength and balance, it's not the same. They don't put you out there because you're more likely to sprain it again, and this time worse, or tear a ligament. So it's about not only being well, but also being back up to your strength and your balance in order to not get hurt again.
Carl thinks ahead. Buying players now means they are cheaper.
Could be.
I mean, Nykamp, which we'll talk to him on our live show tomorrow night, discussed that Barrial has actually been on their radar for a while now, in that they approached Velez, and he was way too expensive when they tried to approach him. But now with COVID, European teams aren't coming into that South American market as much. And then he hasn't been playing as much just because all the talent they have there in the limited number of matches. So his price went down. So I think that it's FC Cincinnati being strategic how they're putting their assets. I mean, you think about it, they're losing $5 or $10 million just in ticket sales. It's a crazy number, amount of money that they're losing this year, and then they're having to spend, $300-400 million buying the stadium. And trust me, guys, those $50 deposits aren't getting the club through all of this. So I definitely appreciate what Carl Linder's doing, Meg Whitman, Scott Farmer, and the Jeff Birding and Nykamp crew, how they're manipulating the budget through this time without laying people off. So a lot going on in this club right now in this tough time.
Absolutely. I think the present is not the time to hold the club accountable, because I think they're doing the right things. I think it's the past. I think it's the initial build. I think Medunjanin was signing that there was a quality player available and they just needed quality.
For free.
Brought him in and did not even necessarily consider how he was going to fit in or what they were going to do with him. It's just a good player that could get free. And I think that was ultimately a mistake. I think if you spend that roster money somewhere else, I think it would have been better. A really good ball passing center back or something,
So we're 0-0 game descended. So let's get your 3-word reviews. Joe Zhao right now walking off the pitch right away. He's very unhappy. He doesn't have his head down, but very unhappy. I understand what it's like to be, I mean, not that level, but like be a player who's top performing, just not getting help around him. But tough night for FC Cincinnati fans, especially against your rival. But I think there's still big things ahead. Still a lot of good stuff going on. They just need to recoup and take advantage of this full week of rest. Yeah. And then head to New York Saturday.
Yeah, 100%. And that is going to be a tough match. New York, since the MLS is back tournament, has been flying. They've been good. I think that we're going to have to see improvements continue in the squad. And I would just echo some of what you said, Brad, and just about like focus in, not on, you said in the beginning when I asked you if 2-1, but they scored a goal, how would you feel? And you said, I don't really try to look at the results, forget about the score and think about the play, between the goalposts, from goalpost to goalpost, not past that. And I think there are a lot of good things to take. Joe Zhao, another great play. I think some of the interchange in the middle and some of the combination play we saw up top, much better. I think where they took a step back today, besides defensively and letting a few free runners, was, I think, not getting Locadia involved. I think that they need to continue to make the steps forward that they are. Last match you saw them get Locadia involved a lot, but they weren't doing as much combining and getting Joe Zhao going, right? They need to make both of those steps at the same time. They need to put that together.
Well, I appreciate everybody coming on and commenting on the show. We've had some great ones. Colin Rink, it is possible. Jeremy Schrand, hell is real. Ross Diddy, better passing midfield. Nui UC, no goals in open play. A little more than 3. No goals in open play since New York Red Bulls in Orlando. No wins left in this year. I don't believe that. I believe this week we are going to see at least 6, but I believe 12 once they figure out what to do with the Canadian teams. That we will get more victories and we will have positive results and there will be more building blocks. I just appreciate all you do. Larry says, Zhao, please shoot. Gator Zoned says the play looked tired. 5 matches in 16 days. It's and not much interchange. You are correct, Gator Zoned. Red Legs Fan 96. There you go, bud. Yeah. First one of the night. Aerial defense is great. Once the ball's on the ground, we're helpless.
Yeah, I think helpless is probably a little too much. The sky is falling. I think that, again, I think the team did some really good things. They weren't helpless. A couple teams before Columbus would have loved to score a goal. Columbus would have loved to score a goal not too long ago against FC Cincinnati. So I do think they need to improve, but I do not think that they are helpless.
See, my thoughts. My thought is that Locadia at worst is on the same par level as Zardes. Right now, they're getting different amount of chances, different, confidence. Because Locadia hasn't put any in the net. But I think when this thing gets going, FC Cincinnati will be at worst that. Locadia will be at worst as good as Zardes is doing right now. So I think there's still a lot to go. And I think that FC Cincinnati, if they can get somebody to help out, if you can get a creative force opposite Zhao, so defenses just can't go, we're going to defend this right side, beat us on the left. Because MLS, the talent differential is not the same as the EPL or the Bundesliga or Serie A. You can do that. I think FC Cincinnati is going to have some positive movement the next 13 matches.
Yeah, I agree 100% with that. And I also think, it's always going to be hard to get your center forward on the ball playing a 3-5-2. Other teams know that you don't have natural width and they can clog that middle. When is the last time that we've seen Locadia with a really, really just like game where he had wide open touches, where he was getting on the ball, able to pass and move and get into the rhythm? He's getting so few touches right now and so few opportunities because FC Cincinnati needs to be able to create from wide areas. Yep. And for that to happen, if they're going to play in a 5-3-2, it's going to have to look an awful lot more like a 3-5-2 when they go forward. It cannot continue to be 5-3-2. When Joe Zhao has a chance to run forward, he goes. It's going to have to be more offensive. And, players like Makocho, I think, can really help that, give you that solid base in the center and let you push those wide players up. And that's the hope anyway.
Yeah, if I was a center forward on this team, I'd be pissed off. I would be losing it right now. So Graydon Cohen says, how long have we been talking about getting someone creative to provide service, though? Feels like it's always been a need, but Harrison DeYoung feel like misses so far. So, I mean, we haven't, for the players we've purchased and brought in, they haven't had an impact chance yet. So honestly, they've had a lot, we've really had a few matches. So what, if this was a team that started in March, we wouldn't be close to the summer window yet. But it does it does feel like to me that Harrison DeYoung do kind of feel like misses. Not like I said, I feel like they were more Band-Aid signings than they were long-term players. But
I 100% agree. De Jong has been a major miss in my book. Just his passing percentage, his number of touches. Even today he didn't have a good match. He's had one good match that I've been happy with his play in the entire time since he's been here. Now that doesn't mean he's always going to be a miss going forward. He could improve because he has the quality. He's done it in the past. It's just about him not doing now. Harris Medunian, I think it's a case of not being utilized in the right way. And I don't know that FC Cincinnati is set up to utilize him in the right way, but he is an elite passer over distance, which means he needs to have time and space on the ball in midfield. Right now, every time he touches the ball, he's being pressed because the center backs and the other midfielders aren't good enough passers to move and to open up space for him to get that space on the ball to be able to drop dimes into a Jow or a Locadia or something like that. So,
well, as we wrap up tonight, we thank everybody for coming on. We appreciate all the questions. Y'all have been great. We'll make sure that Brian hosts next time so we do something. Just kidding. Coach, you are always awesome. Let's get your final thoughts from the match.
I think, I'm looking forward to the New York match now. I was actually a little bit worried about it before. I think now after FC Cincinnati getting beaten handily, in the end by Columbus, I think we've seen time after time they get beat handily. Stom knows the buttons to push. They have a full week of training ahead before they face NYCFC. Hopefully a couple guys can get back healthy and hopefully Stom gets them doing something. And, I'm looking forward to that match. I think it's going to be a bounce back match for them.
Yeah, me too. I know the NYCFC has eked out some results lately, but I think FC Cincinnati, it's a couple steps forward, a step back, a couple steps forward, a step back. And you saw this match, they were at least able to get Kubo going forward a couple times, especially from a deeper midfield spot that he really should not be in. I would love to see what they can do with some of the wing backs, see if he's figured out Garza versus Gutman. And, the Crew are still a great team. And FC Cincinnati had faced the best team in the Eastern Conference 3 times out of the last, 8 matches? So, yeah, it's like the Reds facing the Cubs and Cardinals, 5 of 6 series. So there's a lot going on, a lot of FC Cincinnati still figuring out, but I still think there were good building blocks and good things to learn from tonight.
Yeah, I think I'm interested. I'll do a how they happened article where I'll break down the goals. So if you guys are gluttons for punishment and want to go read that, probably on Tuesday, and I'll break them down and kind of assign some blame. I'm interested to do that because I think for all of how good Joe Jow is, just my first impression is that a couple of those goals that he shares a large part of the blame, especially that Santos goal.
Well, if y'all want to get into the Growler Cup, trust me, people have not been right so far. So yours truly, I think, is in the lead with 9 points, and you can get 6 per match. So head on over to CincinnatiSoccerTalk.com/support. Join at the $5 a month level. Be a supporter of this show. Be a captain. Subs will announce your name on the next CST show on Monday nights, and you can join our Growler Cup. We just appreciate every single thing you do. We're able to get tremendous hosts like Michael Lahoud, Jeff Wallander going, I would say go to practice each week, but at least doing the live meetings with Yapstam every week. So just head on over to CincinnatiSoccerTalk.com/support. It helps support how we run this organization week in and week out. We just love and appreciate every single dollar y'all contribute to us. So for Coach, I thank you for coming on this week. I'm Brad Weigel. I would normally say for Razzle Dazzle Brazzle and Brad Weigel, but you know what? Boston ain't here tonight, so it's okay. We'll make do. We thank you for coming on. And you know what? Onward to 3 points for Cincinnati in New York next week. It's going to happen, yo. Pick it up. Pick it in the Growler Cup. They are going to get the W. All right. Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Brad.